This video is proudly sponsored by Raycon.
With the first pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the modern consumer selects the Everyday E25 earbuds from Raycon.
What a tremendous pick by the consumer. Raycon's at number 1. Mel, what do you think about this?
I've been scouting these earbuds for the past few months, and every time I've come away more impressed with them. In terms of sound quality, versatility, and value, they're outstanding. They wowed everyone at the Combine. 6 hours of battery life, booming bass, a multitude of colors, seamless Bluetooth capability, and all at half the price of the major competitors. They were quoted before the draft as saying they're gonna disrupt the electronics industry and take no prisoners doing so. I gave them an early first round grade and the consumer feels the same way. But what if people want to break away from screens, Mel? What happens there? That's the best part. They have a huge zone and radius coverage and it'll allow them to free themselves to get right to the action. I know some have questions about their ability at the next level, but I assure you I'm confident in their success. Sources say that I may have a pair myself and will be using them at training camp this summer. Raycon even offers a 45-day money-back guarantee if you're not satisfied. In development, they were a jack of all trades and they're eager to prove their worth to you now. Don't mind if I interrupt you, but Raycon is even offering you 15% off your order by going to buyraycon.com/utree. Who's that? I don't know, probably some schmuck, but it adds even more value to the top pick in the draft. That's good to know. Stand by, everyone. We're gonna send you to Roger for the rest of the draft. Roger, take it away.
With the first pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trevor Lawrence, quarterback, Clemson.
And here he is, the greatest quarterback prospect this league has seen since Andrew Luck. Quite the shocker that he's fallen all the way to the number 1 selection in the draft. The Jaguars have lacked a top-flight quarterback for a very long time, and Lawrence will hopefully end their search for one for just as long. All I can say is this, Jacksonville. If you ruin him, I will find you. I don't care where you run, I will be the last thing you see. Have fun with him, by the way.
The New York Jets select Zach Wilson, quarterback, BYU.
The Jets did a damn good job of killing Sam Darnold, and the final blow came a few weeks before the draft. He was catapulted to Carolina for a significantly less return than the premium haul they gave to move up to pick him. For his replacement, they bring in a man who they hope will live up to his sky-high potential. Wilson is a boomer-bust prospect, but I personally feel this is a test for the Jets. If they wish to cast off the shadow of being a meme organization, Wilson will be developed properly instead of being cast into the fire. I like what Joe Douglas has done so far, and I hope Saleh is as good as I believe he can be. But this course is the only way they can evolve. The allegedly middling competition Wilson faced at BYU be damned.
The San Francisco 49ers select Trey Lance, quarterback, North Dakota State.
It was no secret the Niners were picking a QB here. The question was which one. They said they had 5 QBs that were at this position because fuck showing your hand, everyone, right? In this situation, they picked the guy with the highest upside. But a man that has a floor so low he makes Zach Wilson seem safe. They paid a premium to get here, but the rewards could be great. Jimmy Garoppolo, please step onto this giant X. You are officially on the hot seat. Kyle Shanahan has been looking for his great quarterback in San Fran. If he develops Trey carefully, he could have his magnum opus.
The Atlanta Falcons select Kyle Pitts, tight end, Florida.
The Falcons went from potentially trading the pick to a quarterback-hungry team to choosing what could quite possibly be a generational tight end. The sheer athleticism and ability of Kyle Pitts made him too good to pass up. So much for trying to ship off Julio Jones to a contender, they needed to get another elite weapon for Matt Ryan. I think this might end those rumors swirling as well, at least for the short term. Who cares if their problems were on the defensive side of the ball? You can't pass up this talent, they'll say. It's at minimum a great piece for Arthur Smith's offense. That's all I'll comment on at this time.
The Cincinnati Bengals select Jamar Chase, wide receiver, LSU.
The allure of reuniting Burrow with his former big-time wide receiver was just too great for them to use any kind of common sense. I wouldn't mind the pick, he fills a need, but here's the problem. Joe Burrow got fucking killed last year. His knee was palmered and we don't know if his mobility will ever be the same. So why in God's name are you drafting a wideout when a potentially generational blindside blocker landed in your laps? The dude was compared to Anthony fucking Munoz. It was perfect! I have no issues with Jamar Chase. But what's the point if Burrow's going to be terrorized by edge rushers before Chase can create separation? They did spend a second rounder on a lineman, but they had far more issues than that over there. Explain that one to me.
The Miami Dolphins select Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, Alabama.
Miami needed a premier wideout to aid Tua. It was one of their biggest flaws last season. With the glut of men to choose from, it was between two former Alabama products. They chose Waddle. The elite speed and returning ability should add a quality weapon for the Dolphins. And their finesse of several teams in the trade market allows them to reap further rewards down the line. It's an intriguing time to be a fan of Miami, and I'm very fascinated to see how Tua progresses this season. This should be interesting.
The Detroit Lions select Penei Sewell, tackle, Oregon.
The Lions win by doing absolutely nothing. There were people wondering if they would piss away a pick on a skill position, but when a lineman with a pedigree like Sewell falls to you, you have to take him. With all of the praise that's been lavished on him, he'll be a great asset if they choose to go on another deep rebuild. Remember that all of this is with him taking a year off from play. I am confident that this guy will be good, which means that it will either be the kiss of death or will become the next Joe Thomas. I'm so sorry, Detroit.
The Carolina Panthers select J.C. Horn, defensive back, South Carolina.
Here's the first big what the fuck moment of the draft. J.C. Horn is considered to be one of the best corners in this draft, especially in terms of physicality, but over Surtain? The draft heads lost their minds. His dad, Joe Horn, wasn't happy with them overlooking the pick whatsoever. Let's relax for a second, everyone. This is a nothing burger. Perhaps the Panthers just like Horn's traits over Surtain and thought he was a better fit for their scheme. We all know the bigger news for the Panthers is bringing in the exiled son of New York named Sam Darnold. Let us pray he was not totally ruined by Adam Gase. That old new toy in Teddy Bridgewater they bought last year, they don't want to play with him anymore. He's a past fad. Find some love at the thrift store.
The Denver Broncos select Pat Surtain, Jr., defensive back, Alabama.
Justin Fields was on the board. It was perfect for Denver. Broncos fans were pleading for them to take him, but they would be denied. And I think I know the reason why. Not Drew Lock, but acquiring Teddy Bridgewater from the Panthers. He's reliable, safe QB play at his best. And Denver isn't that excited about such a prospect. Even then, Patrick Surtain is an outstanding pick and should bolster a completely loaded secondary even further. Don't fret too much, Broncos fans. You got yourselves a stud. That defense should be outstanding barring another wave of injuries. Now, only if you had some stability at quarterback.
The Philadelphia Eagles select Devontae Smith, wide receiver, Alabama.
With Dallas's main choice in Surtain gone, it made sense for them to trade down. Sometimes you have to sleep with an enemy to get an extra third-round pick. For the Eagles, they continue the exercise in agony by taking their third wideout in the first 2 rounds in the last 3 years. Hopefully this one won't disappoint. The main knack on Devontae is,
oh my God, he's 150 pounds soaking wet who'll get blown away by a stiff wind.
It's as if elite strength and weight management coaches don't exist at the NFL level. What's the worst that can happen to him? He gets destroyed on a crossing route down the middle? He's with Jalen Hurts again. He'll be fine.
My Chicago Bears select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State.
The Chicago Bears trading a significant package in a desperation move to select what they think is their quarterback of the future. Hey, I think I've seen this movie before. Even then, it appears that Ryan Pace drafted the anti-Trubisky. Many believe that Fields was the second best quarterback in this draft less than 6 months ago, and his great pedigree and upside are still there. To be honest, I'm just not a huge Fields fan. I respect what he can bring to a team, but he needs time to develop. I just hope Chicago allows him that opportunity. They also traded up in the second round to select Evan Jenkins, which is a crucial pickup for their O-line. This move is a huge risk, and a Hail Mary to save jobs. I just feel that future first they gave up is going to bite them in the future.
The Dallas Cowboys select Michael Parsons! Woo! Linebacker, Penn State!
If you can't fill one gaping hole in the roster, try and fill another. Sean Lee somehow didn't injure himself while filling out his retirement papers, and the Jalen Smith extension has painfully backfired so far. So the time was now to try to bring in another middle-of-the-field shit record that can devastate backfields. Parsons was outstanding at Penn State, excluding an opt-out last season, but there have been questions about his character. Not that it matters, Jerry Boy has never given a fuck about off-field antics if they can play football. If he's as good as advertised, he should be fine. Meanwhile, somewhere the Cowboys are about to poison the water supply of Charlotte. Their drafting of J.C. Horn caused a butterfly effect that may have changed the course of the entire NFL. And especially this draft. They wanted Sertan, goddammit.
The Los Angeles Chargers select Rashawn Slater Jr., tackle, Northwestern.
The Chargers had a hole in their offensive line with Russell Okung leaving in free agency, and Slater fell right into their laps. Depending on who you talk to, some had this guy as a better pick than Sewell due to his versatility. Like Sewell, he took the year off, so there may be some rust. It's the right idea, though. Protect the franchise QB. They're on the right track, but the Chargers organization is in for some turmoil. The Spanos family is having a courtroom spat involving a sister of Dean. The family trust is allegedly hemorrhaging money at an exponential rate. She calls on Spanos to do what's right and sell the team to maintain their financial superiority. Dean is stereotypically defensive. The NFL world wishes it could have happened sooner than this. Fuck you, Spanos.
The New York Jets select Elijah Vera Tucker, guard, USC.
The Jets move up 9 spots while not giving up a ton to select needed interior line help to protect their new franchise QB. It's as if the Jets are trying to develop some kind of structure, securing the investment of your newfound top draft pick with offensive line support and weapons to play with. I'd be happy with it if I'm a fan. Vera Tucker should slot in nicely as a day one starter. And even though they may need another year or two to reach their potential, there's a reason for hope here again. That's all you can ask. Yes, they did pick previous Locale of the Week winner Elijah Moore in the second round. He's a good prospect for them as a wideout.
The 6-time world champion New England Patriots select Mac Jones.
There are a few questions that people have about Jones at the NFL level. How much of his success was based on the chorus around him? How will his skills convert? There were people believing he could have gone to the Niners when they traded up, but a bad showing at his pro day all but ended that. Although that may be for the best, since he's gone to the best place for his skills, the Evil Empire. Belichick's first love is insulating his QB and emphasizing the short and mid-range passing game. Mac Jones does it well. I suspect he'll marinate for a year or two, but this is a big move for the hoodie. One that may end the hot takes about Brady carrying him to glory.
The Arizona Cardinals select Xavin Collins, linebacker, Tulsa.
Look at the raw attributes of Collins, and you can see why scouts fell in love with him. My question with this pick isn't with Xavin, but with Arizona. We saw how lost they seemed with trying to find a place for Isaiah Simmons last year, and Jones hopefully won't suffer the same fate this time around. His upside is immense, but he'll probably be an understudy for a bit to hone his skills. No, we still don't have word on what Fitz is going to do. But if them drafting a wide receiver in the second round means anything, it might mean the end of his time here. Here's a shoe to throw in honor of his illustrious career. Marco Wilson will be here to throw it if you don't.
The Las Vegas Raiders select Alex Leatherwood, tackle, Alabama.
The Raiders have never given a flying fuck about consensus draft board rankings, and it shows once again. Early second round grade with better tackles apparently on the board, they're just rankings, who cares about them? The real deal clinching aspect of this man's game is the incredible meme collection secured on his cell phone. Now that is a generational talent in and of itself to Las Vegas. If it means anything, I'm a fan of this guy and his upside at the NFL level. You may take that information and consider it how you will. Just swap the second and first round picks of the Raiders and you'll feel better about it. And God bless them for picking Divine Diablo in the third round. There's another meme to add to Leatherwood's cell phone.
The Miami Dolphins select Jalen Phillips, defensive end, Miami.
Miami is once again proving they're a team to watch in the upcoming years. And filling a need at the edge brings about another fascinating story. Jalen Phillips has been on an odyssey. He was the #1 prospect in the nation at one point, only to be undone by a series of concussions that had him retire from UCLA. In his hiatus, he suffers more injuries and has to have several wrist surgeries. Despite all the adversity, he rises from the ashes to have a strong season as a Hurricane and bring about promise. Jalen is the organization playing Russian roulette. Don't get the bullet, you have a potentially game-changing blitzer. If concussion issues flare up again, we don't want to go there.
The Washington football team selects Jamin Davis, linebacker, Kentucky.
I think they would have preferred to go QB for their pick, but there was no one good left for the taking. So why not go for the best guy they deemed available? Jamin Davis they envisioned to be in the mold of the new age middle linebacker. An intelligent leader who matches cerebral instincts with elite athleticism. His pro day was salivating, but he's still very, very raw. So it'll be a few years before he reaches his full potential. But if Ron Rivera can do one thing, it's develop defenders to the best of their ability. If they train him well, Washington may have their Luke Kuechly. It'll take a lot to get there, though.
The New York Giants select Kadarius Toney, wide receiver, Florida.
I get the feeling that the Giants wanted Devontae Smith, but were one-upped by the Eagles in their quest. After trading down, they chose to reach on the next best option, albeit with a few questions. What does this mean for Sterling Shepard? They brought in Galladay for their big-time target, and Toney fills the gadget and slot receiver roles. Even then, Toney is a skilled player, but not the biggest need for them at this time. He would have gotten a few picks to Jacksonville. And they got a high-pedigree edge rusher in the second round, so it's not as if he hasn't looked on draft day. There are absolutely no excuses for Daniel Jones this season. It's put up or shut up time. And a lot of jobs are on the line if things go south for the 5th year in a row.
The Indianapolis Colts select Kwity Paye, defensive end, Michigan.
Indianapolis doesn't have many weaknesses in their overall roster. At edge rusher, it was one of their few flaws. So Kwity Paye was selected as the piece to hopefully get them over the top. Yep, all 11.5 career sacks at Michigan. Not that it matters. Paye is an impressive specimen and should get some of the best development imaginable to help him thrive at the next level. With his background, I think there's motivation to get there. Are they ever going to get some weapons for Carson Wentz, though? They did nothing to help him out until the 4th round. If it walks like a lame duck and talks like one.
The Tennessee Titans select Caleb Farley, defensive back, Virginia Tech.
This is the replacement for Adoree Jackson, and Janoris Jenkins once he ages out of the starting lineup. Farley is a skilled corner, but has had significant injury issues over the past few seasons. He's still very raw as a cover guy and defender, so he'll need time to develop. It's a tremendous gamble, just like last year's first-round pick. That guy worked out so well they had to draft his replacement in the 2nd round this year. Go figure.
The Minnesota Vikings select Christian Darrisaw, tackle, Virginia Tech.
The Vikings trade down and pick up the guy they had been eyeing up 9 picks earlier, all the while securing a few mid-round selections for the trouble. I'd call that a successful first round for Minnesota. They had a hole to fill with the departure of Riley Reef, and pass blocking was a significant concern for them in key situations. Darrisaw should help with that. Although there may be a bit of an exaggerated controversy on the quarterback front. The next draft pick was spent on a QB in Kellen Mond. I wonder how many hot takes are going to be skewed about Kirk Cousins this go-around. Over-under is at 6.
The Pittsburgh Steelers select Naji Harris, running back, Alabama.
Drafting a running back in the first round is considered to be a risky proposition in these times. The guy you're picking either has to be upper crust in talent or have no other big holes to fill. I have nothing against Naji Harris. He's a good player, he has great instincts and versatility, he's an excellent human being. That's all nice. But who's blocking for him? Run blocking was a significant issue for the Steelers last season, and the entire left side of the line is dispersed by retirement or free agency. The 2nd round brought about a tight end who will probably be used for short-range passes and some run blocking because Eric Ebron is suspect at both things. I have nothing against Freiermuth either, but if you're going to draft a running back, shouldn't you give him a line to let him rumble? I fear the worst for him in the first year or so.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select Travis Etienne, running back, Clemson.
The more I look into this pick, the dumber I feel Jacksonville is. No, this isn't about Etienne himself, but the circumstances in Duval. First, it's a running back when they have other holes to fill on the roster. Secondly, James Robinson emerged as a first-line running back last season, so it makes things even more confusing. They signed Carlos Hyde as well, but what makes this pick pathetic is their insistence on using him as a 3rd down back. You're drafting a situational player with a 25th overall pick? I get trying to make your new QB comfortable, but jamming a square peg into a triangle? They should have gone line here. Yes, I get that they picked a tackle in the 2nd round and the O-line class is apparently deep. It still doesn't make this feel like it's any less wasteful. All that will silence this derision is production. Remember that.
For the Cleveland Browns, we have Gregory Newsome II.
I am living in a world where the Cleveland Browns are making logical decisions in terms of football operations. The past cheap crutches I was able to rely on are vanishing before my eyes. I absolutely hate it. On the surface, Cleveland had a great draft. Newsome fills a need in the secondary, and a first-round talent in JOK fell to them in the 2nd. It's a bit risky with the heart issue, but he was cleared by doctors. If they can get Sheldon Richardson back, they're going to fuck a lot of teams up in the AFC North. Not good when you root for a team in that division. At least I still have the Bungles to pick on for now.
The Baltimore Ravens select Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, Minnesota.
One of the least surprising revelations of the draft for the Ravens. They desperately need receiving help. They had the worst passing attack of anyone in the league, and it was in part due to unimpressive wideouts. Bateman, like Hollywood Brown before him, is an attempt to correct this glitch in the offensive system. There are many questions that Baltimore must answer to become a fully fleshed out machine, but it's not for them not trying. All they can do is wait and see.
The New Orleans Saints select Peyton Turner, defensive end, Houston.
Leave it to the Saints to perplex people and have them wondering what the hell they're doing sometimes. Turner has plenty of intangibles, but before this week people saw him as a third-round pick. If anything, it's more damning of Marcus Davenport and his lack of progress in substandard production. They picked up his fifth-year option, but his work has been quite underwhelming so far. In Turner, they picked up a raw talent with strong attributes, but a lack of game experience. They need to replace Trey Hendrickson's production, and they're hoping it will come with Turner. With their cornerback issues, I just don't know if it's the right call here.
The Green Bay Packers select Eric Stokes, defensive back, Georgia.
Will the Packers ever draft a linebacker or wideout with a selection outside of day 3? That seems to be the question on everyone's minds. With the Stokes pick, one play is traumatizing Packers management. Scotty Miller burning Kevin King in the NFC Championship game. Stokes has blazing speed, and they're hoping his skill can make up for any unfortunate outcomes. Still don't get why they don't get weapons for their quarterback to play with. Oh, shit. Aaron Rodgers is fucking pissed. But this time it's directed towards the organization itself. He's tired of having to carry this sad sack of a franchise while he believes the team slights him. They don't do enough to help him, he believes. And the time has come to issue ultimatums. He wants out ASAP. Preferably to a franchise on the West Coast, but it could be to the bitter shadow of Brett Favre in retirement. Green Bay is in serious jeopardy, and all cheeseheads are pointing fingers. They will drive up and execute Brian Gutekunst on sight if it means Rodgers stays, but the damage may already be done. What you are hearing is all of Wisconsin evaporating so quickly that it has now become a dry state. Buckle up, Packies. The rest of the NFC North is never going to let you forget what might be your future.
The Buffalo Bills select Gregory Rousseau, defensive end, Miami.
Buffalo's major weakness last season was getting to the quarterback in an efficient manner. Logically, a team should try to shore that up with elite talent that can be cultivated properly. In their first 2 picks, Buffalo did just that. There are many that feel that Rousseau is the most talented edge rusher in this draft, and with proper development, he will be the final piece to a defense-thinking Super Bowl. The second round merely added to this with selecting another edge player in Carlos Basham. They know the time to strike is now, and they'll do anything it takes to get to the promised land. This draft proves it.
The Baltimore Ravens select Jason Owe, linebacker, Penn State.
Baltimore has serious holes to fill on their defense. Matthew Judon is gone, along with Yannick Ngakoue. Trading Orlando Brown to the Chiefs gives them another chip to play with, but Owe is very, very raw. For all of his skill, it rarely showed on the field. No sacks in 2020 apparently make you a first-rounder these days, but it's the epitome of a boom-bust pick. The talent is there, and the Ravens are pretty good at scouting and development. But this one will be challenging, especially since they'll need him to make an impact from the word go. The rest of the AFC North is hoping that won't happen.
The Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Joe Tryon, linebacker, Washington.
And for the goddammit Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the heir apparent to Jason Pierre-Paul. They had no needs. They brought back every single starter from last year's squad. The Bucs are dealing with luxury goods in this draft, and the plan is to pick players who can develop for the future. Tryon is one of these players. Kyle Trask is another. It might be 3 years before he plays, but Trask was considered a first-rounder in the fall of last year. Interesting assessment. I personally can't wait for most of these assessments to blow up spectacularly like they always do. But it's the mystique of the draft. It's when we all become armchair QBs and think we know the answers to our team's woes. Even if some of these prospects inevitably flop, we can at least say we're not Houston Texans fans. Drafting a quarterback with your first selection in the draft. Was Desean Watson even going to play football this season? Those allegations are starting to have some legs to them.
Who's going to announce their pick with a little flair as he entertains the fans here in rival Cleveland.
Hey, look, let me tell you something. Y'all can boo all y'all want, but you got to accept it. I got a ring. I got a ring. I got a ring. It is what it is.